How to become exempt
level, all right?
from
This is
property
a communication
tax.
that a woman got surrounding her property taxes that she hadn't paid for a while. You can see here, notice potential property sale, right? They start threatening you, right? She didn't pay for 2023. She hasn't paid 2022, 2021, and prior, okay? She's looking at about 11, I forget what the total is. It's around almost $12,000 she's looking at paying. The other man that I helped before, he's at $16,000, almost $20,000 he's at for the last 3 years, okay? We need to get everybody on board with this. Everybody's writing these same communications that I'm going to show you here now, because if we do that, we can stop. We can stop all this corruption that's going on. Okay? That's what we need to do. We need to do a hard reset, not only just, in the court systems, but we must do it in every aspect of our life, and this is how we do it. Marion Mead, this is the woman that acts as the mayor for the city of Burlington, so this is the first notice that she received. Notice trespass. This is how simple it is. See, it's one page. That's it, right? People go, oh, I got to start quoting all these acts, codes, statutes, legislation. That's what lawyers do. Right? That's what they're indoctrinated to do. To convolute the system. To create an appeals process. Money, 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 money. So it goes on and on and on. Okay? This is deadly because it's very short, it's very simple, it's very quick. And that's why I give people the two sides of it. If they're losing their entire fraudulent revenue source, which is off the backs of the people, the service corporation doesn't provide services for us, right? They're suckling off the collective people's tit, so to speak, for money to carry on their little organization's fraudulent actions on so many different levels. Where they're going to get their money from, as I said, once that Bank of Canada is restored and all this money comes back in, I think we're big enough people, those of us that are awake to it, we can figure out the correct way moving forward so that these were supported at the municipal level. But then the structure also changed as well. See, this woman, Marion Mead, who acts as mayor, as I told everyone at the presentation, the gathering, if you had Marion Mead standing there, if you had Doug Ford, who's the premier of the provincial government of Ontario, standing there, and you had Justin Trudeau standing there, the top man acting for the Service Corporation Canada. You've got those three people standing there that act in some of the most important roles in our country and for our world. Who has the most jurisdiction there? That means control. It's not Justin Trudeau. It's Marion Mead. Why? Because the people within the community of Burlington, they elected her supposedly, right? And her main goal is to protect the property of the people within that community. It's like the chief of a tribe, right? These are all my native brothers and sisters, and these are all our lands or whatever. This is our borders that we have boundaries, and it is my role to protect those borders and boundaries. It's my job to protect that public courthouse, to make sure that people can get into it if there's a trespass that's occurred against them, to seek the administration of justice. But that doesn't happen. Whenever we're dealing with stuff, when you're dealing with properties, or if you're doing planning or development, what do? They have a separate tribunal from this middleman Service Corporation Ontario. They have a tribunal set up for all planning and development. And the people at the municipality level, with all their codes, rules, and regulations, they just push it off to them. They say, we have no standing in this. We have no control over this. It has to go through the tribunal that's been set up to litigate these issues when planning development becomes an issue. Like in Burlington right now, they're looking at developing, I think it's around 20, it's over 20 high-rise developments over the next several years. They are going to destroy our downtown core. And this woman, Marion Mead, doesn't have a clue what to do. We sat where we tried to talk to her. Anyway, so it goes on here. Good day, Marion, Nancy, and Tracy. That's the three people we talked to. The better. Notice it always says a woman who acts as mayor, a woman who acts as legal counsel, a woman who sometimes acts as tax collector, right? They're all titles that they have. They're your fellow man or woman. And they're not going to answer yes to those three questions, as we know, first and foremost, that your property, contract with the Service Corporation, your property. So all of that leaves, they better damn well have a contract with the Service Corporation that you've consented to some sort of a debt that they pull out of their arse, which they decide by their calculations what you're going to owe. So it goes on to say here, notice trespass, notice of potential property tax sale reference, and then you give the tax account number. The date that it was sent out was just a few months ago. Good day, Marianne and Nancy and Tracy. I confirm receiving notice of potential property tax sale. It's important to use the exact wording that's at the top of that. See Exhibit 1, which was included in the notice. Tracy, that's the woman that we talked at the top there, did not provide or produce any evidence as required surrounding a debt be due, true, or past due. I have accepted this conditionally. See, you're starting to get this now? I have accepted this documentation conditionally that a contract exists and is relied upon a debt be due, true, or past due. I require produce said contract relied surrounding notice of potential property tax sale. I do not have any such contract in my files, and I'm an honorable woman who pays all debts that be true. I further require produce written verifiable proof to who claims this debt be true. See, not a what. A service corporation is a what. It's a thing. It's a fiction. When you use the word who, you're only talking about a man or a woman. You're not talking about a citizen. You're not talking about a resident. All of these terms that were created by society that we don't belong to, okay? A legal world. Who always is a man or woman, one of the people. That's why you finish it off with that. Who claims this debt be to? Because you've addressed above that you better have a contract with the service corporation you're acting through. Now you go to who claims this debt be true and who claims this debt be past due. Please provide the name of the man or woman who is making this claim and kindly respond within 24 hours. Failure to produce the required evidence that no debt exists, trespass will occur, cause I wrong or harm. No man or woman can administrate property without a contract. Which makes the law. I wish to settle this matter quickly and await the required evidence documented, produced. Thank you for your kind attention to address at all at this time. So as you can see, there's no confrontation we're doing there. It's honorable. We're requiring them that they've got to be honorable. If you're claiming Bob or Susie, Tracy in this capacity, that I owe a debt to the service corporation called the Municipality of Burlington, however it's been legally registered, then produce the contract. Take Burlington out of there, put Tim Hortons, right? Tracy works for Tim Hortons. Tracy's communicating to you that you owe a debt to Tim Hortons for property tax. You all understand the simplicity of how you would address that. Well, that's how simple it is with these people. And that's why we need to correct this record. It's a multi-pronged approach, right? You correct the courts, you correct the banking system, and from there we can use those two foundational beds to rout out all this corruption, to correct all this evil for this hard reset that we require in this world. So that's the first one. Then you go to the second notice. The next one is going to be, say, second notice at the top of trespass. The exact same information again, except the date changed. And if they sent you any communication in between, then you say at the top, I did receive, confirming I received on this date a communication to my notice on such and such date. But then you state right on your square, you state in that, you don't leave that communication to them. Where's the contract that you're relying upon that a debt be true, or who's claiming that I owe this debt, right? Where is it? They've got to produce that evidence. So once we do those three there, then we're able to jump to the tacit agreement. Real quickly, this is the same one. We'll just jump to the third notice, right? Just so you can see it. There's the third notice again. All that changes at the top here. The third notice, that was the date of when the third notice got sent to them. Everything else is all the same, okay? Now, once I showed you that, then you hit them with the tacit agreement. Okay, so after this is where you pay attention when they try and push it to somebody else. It's something else on paper that they're pointing to that, no, this debt's truer too, because this is what this says. Well, here's an example, okay? Tracy then responded back after she got the third notice to this woman, right? This is what she sent to her, and I put it back in order. Tracy sent this to me, third notice, trespass, tacit agreement. So she sent her the third notice and the tacit agreement. Then she gets back from Tracy. Dear such and such. Then she goes, property tax arrears owing to the city of Burlington as set out in Notice of Potential Property Tax Sale dated July 11, 2023 are legislated. Legislated, right? What's a legislated? Who's a legislator? Well, that's a man or woman that's acting for a service corporation. Go back to those three questions on the property, right? They don't answer yes to them, then you don't give a rat's ass what they say or put pen to paper. They have no jurisdiction, control over you. Goes on to say, not contractual, huh? They are legislated, not contractual. So she's telling you right there, people that you don't know are writing some words on a piece of paper, and then these maggots, through the ignorance of law, which is a maximum law, which is unacceptable, are now coming out into the public, and they're trying to collect on this debt through their ignorance, right? Because they don't understand the creation of money. They don't understand the difference between legal and lawful. Goes on to say, and are calculated in accordance with the Municipal Act. What's the question you ask? Who? Well, who's this man or woman that wrote this Municipal Act? The numbers and the Assessment Act, RSO of 1990. Okay. Who wrote it? I don't have that in my files either. So there must be my wet signature that's on this documentation that you're relying upon that this debt be due, true or past due, that I've consented to this with my wet signature. Where's the contract? Or what's left? Everybody should be able to answer this by now. Whoever wrote this acting as a legislator for the Assessment Act or for the Municipal Act, these people, whether it's one man or woman or it's a billion of them, they must believe that I'm their property, right? Okay, bring them forward into open court. Who's going to point across that room, say, that man there's my property, and if I was their property, if they actually created me and I was their property, their serf, well, then I would have to abide by, and I consented, then I would have to abide by whatever terms, whatever condition, whatever interest, whatever orders that they're barking out for me or hoops to jump through. So she points to this. This is what they do. An overdue property tax notice is being mailed this week, advising that a minimum the 2021 arrears must be paid by December 31st to prevent further tax collection action. The current balance owing for 2021, so it's again, she's at about $12,000. That's Tracy Big. And I wrote back to her, I said, It's like I spoke to. She is pointing to people in another service corporations BS. Acts, codes, statutes, rules, regulations, bylaws are nothing more than policy for corrupt service corporations, such as Ontario, Canada, Burlington. Produce the contract as required from the service corporation called Ontario. I have no contract with them unless they are answering yes to those 3 questions I property. Otherwise, correct your records. We the people are done with this corruption. We the people are going to correct this theft and fraud. Thank her for your reply on such a date, and then nail her with you still haven't produced the required evidence. Contract with whatever service corporation Tracy believes has any jurisdiction over we the people or our property. And I remind them all again, ignorance of the law is no excuse, a maxim in law, not legal, which does not apply to we the people. Okay? So that's how simple this stuff is once you start getting into it. Okay? You use these documents as a way to show everyone. And I'm just going to show everyone one last document here. A man had gone and bought a piece of property, and he knew the truth surrounding property tax. So immediately when he got his first communication from the Yellowhead County, he wrote right back to that top man, who was Wade, acting as mayor, as it says there at the top there. And again, combined assessment and tax notice to the customer, and that was the name and the roll number. Wade Williams and people under his control. July 14, 22, I received subject. Again, you're quoting exactly what the title of whatever documentation they sent you. It shows you their combined asset and tax notice. Who is the man or woman claiming said debt? Nor was it autographed to verify who I should direct this communication. Again, it just says, sincerely, tax department or something. It doesn't even give a name of a man or woman who is sending this communication. This is the walls they try and hide behind because they want to protect themselves from any type of repercussions. It goes on to say here, notice accepted conditionally. See, we're doing it again. You're accepting that notice conditionally. A contract is produced by Wade or agents with Yellowhead County. Produce written verifiable evidence who claim a debt be due, true, or past due. And lastly, past due. I require evidence produced to address failure to produce evidence then that only leaves as fact. We're back to Wade Williams or any man or woman at Yellowhead County claim my property, or Wade William or any man or woman have contract privately. That means on the private side with the man or woman that you're their property. Contract exists with the service corporation, Yellowhead County, to jurisdiction, or I am bound to perform without my consent if no contract produced. Failure to produce the required evidence by a man, Wade Williams, or agents or officers under your control, then this offer to contract, subject, blah, 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 that's the Lotus they sent them, is declined, returned. Remove my property off your tax roll and correct your records. And what's happened with that? They've removed Paul from the tax record. He does not pay property taxes anymore, right? That's what I'm saying. It's not about skirting our responsibilities. It's about us fighting back collectively. And that's why we have an incredible opportunity here in Burlington, Ontario, to be an incredible light to the world. All the cities, these municipalities, these corporations, they have mantras, little sayings that to describe what their city's about. Well, the city of Burlington, its mantra is it's supposed to be the city of hope. Okay? And Burlington's become the city of horseshit. I've got the last 3 mayors involved in massive corruption. All of them will be held accountable for what they've done. All of the councillors will be held accountable because you see in the legal world, they have the statute of limitations. You can't go back on people 7 years. Another little red herring that's put in there to block things that are going on. Not in the common law world. You can go back on any man or woman. Even your estate can go back on them after you die if your family has the evidence that there was a trespass that occurred, wrong and a harm, and you've had your property compromised, right? Or taken from you. That's how powerful this is.